Greetings and welcome to the channel. Today I'm in Dawesmere in Lincolnshire. What we are looking upon here is the vicarage where my grandparents lived, which is actually larger than Christchurch, the church next to it, which we are about to visit. My grandfather, the Reverend Thomas Leech, was appointed by the Queen under warrant of Her Majesty's Royal Sign Manual on the 8th of November 1957 to be vicar to the living here. And he actually served here between 1958 and 1962. Whilst we are by the vicarage, I must relate the story of my grandmother's demise, because it was from the vicarage door that she left on her last day on earth. My mother, who was present at the time, wrote an account. She said, "My father would usually wait in the car for her to leave the house, and she would come out, leave the front door open, and he would then have to get out of the car to close the front door. This day she shut the front door behind her, which I thought was strange." My mother wrote a lengthier account, but I will abridge it. My feeling is that my grandmother on some level knew that she would not be returning to the vicarage, and in closing the door, closed the last chapter to her life. The vicar of St. John's in Derby, which they used to attend, was being inducted into a new parish about 50 miles from here, and she collapsed in the porch and died there. As we shall see, there is a wooden memorial dedicated to her inside the church. The church, also referred to as Gedney Dawesmere, was built in 1869 to the design of Ewan Christian and a near copy of his work at Holbeach St. Mark, which I had intended to visit but ran out of time. Partly because I had the delight of meeting off camera a lady called Mary Bills, whose son Adrian had actually been baptised by my grandfather in 1961. Of course, he's grown considerably since then and will no longer fit in the font. I'll take this opportunity to thank Jeff Palmer, who gave me Mary's details. I got to see Jeff later in the day at Long Sutton Church. Perhaps you can imagine my excitement upon entering this place. Not only were my grandparents here, but also my mother came with my two eldest siblings for them to be baptised by my grandfather, who, by the way, we always referred to as Grampy. Mum said, when my father asked for my mother's hand in marriage, my Grampy said he had better take all of me. This is God's house, home to all his family. It is kept open for you. Come in then, enjoy it, rest in it, pray in it, for yourself and those you love, and for God's family here, and the needs of the world. If a service is in progress, join in, if only for a while. God's peace be with you. A first glimpse of the font. My father was in the Royal Navy, and my brother was born in Malta, and as my mother had passed, I was having difficulty finding out where he was actually baptised, but I discovered on the register of baptisms behind the font that it was here. And as we climb above the font, we see tall waisted windows which have a simple adornment. And as we scroll down the priest in charge placard, it is good to see a familiar name of Thomas Leech. I like the line of white bricks along the interior of the brickwork. From certain angles it rather appears like a bead of light is streaming through the windows. It is so wonderful to be able to immerse myself in this quiet space. Quietude is so rare in today's life that even a non-religious person, such as I am, would appreciate a break from all the noise that's inherent in the world we live in modernity. We are now approaching the altar, where behind it lies a wooden memorial to my grandmother, Elsie Leech. It was actually done by friends in Camberley, in Surrey, which is where they served prior to coming here. I say they served because prior to my grandfather becoming a minister, they both served in the church army. They had a courtship over many years, as I understand, because in those days you couldn't get married until you had the means to do so. Working together, they ran a hostel for the homeless. I understand my grampy had always wanted to be a priest, but because he was from a low class, it wasn't permissible to do so back then. He got his opportunity because a friend from Australia was having a talk with a bishop who was bemoaning the lack of people available to join the clergy, and he said he knew of someone who desperately wanted to become part of the clergy. So many significant events in our lives open up out of seemingly insignificant situations. If you have an interesting one, why not let us know in the comments below? I'm fortunate to have tape-to-tape recordings made by my grampy. He did them in the church he went to after this, which was the Church of the Good Shepherd in 4 Marks, Alton, in Hampshire. But if you will indulge me, I thought it might be interesting to play some of it.
St. John unfoldeth the mystery of the Incarnation. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. There was a man sent from God, whose name was John. The same came for a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all men through him might believe. He was not that light, but was sent to bear witness of that light. That was the true light, which lighteth every man that cometh into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. He came unto his own, and his own received him not. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God, even to them that believe on his name, which were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. And the Word was made flesh, and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. Thanks be to God.
There now follows an excerpt of Grampy's favourite hymn. Breathe on me, breath of God, fill me with life anew, that I may love what thou dost love, and do what thou wouldst do. I quite like this decoration at the communion rail. My grandmother used to play the piano to the First World War troops. Looking at this organ here, it's quite likely that my grandfather played it, because I know he played the organ. He moved in with us in the last year of his life, and I later was able to learn to play on the organ that he'd left to my brother in his will. I was 7 when he passed away. I clearly recall my mother knocking on our bedroom door to tell us that he'd passed. I wasn't particularly upset, but I cried because she was crying. Amongst the photos of vicars past here is also the picture of Michael Bills, known as Mick, who was the husband of Mary, who I spoke to previously off camera. He was church warden here for 22 years. But also, as we turn around, it will reveal the picture of my grandfather, the Reverend Thomas Leech. Hello, Grampy. I love you.
I don't know, each time Christmas comes round, I miss Mum more and more, I think. They do say that time heals all wounds, but I think there are some wounds that even time won't heal. Still, I suppose every man to his own way, but I could never have another person in Mum's place. I loved her too much for that. Ours was a deep love, which was not demonstrative, but one that travelled with each other wherever we were. She came with me everywhere during our married life. She worked with me all day and all the night we were together. So that I suppose that when one has lived with someone else all day and all night, never going away to do work like some husbands do, perhaps they miss them, I don't know. But we went everywhere together except where Mum could not come, such as meetings where I had to go, where I could only go alone. Still, sometimes she used to come, and if I was going to a town, she would come and she would spend her time around the town while I was in my meeting. Then we would meet again and come home together. Poor old Mum. I know that often she's with me. I know she comes in the car with me even now, because I sometimes hear her talking to me. Sometimes I hear her come into this room when I'm sitting quietly watching television. I almost hear the door open, even turn round to see who's come in, but I know there's nobody visible has entered. I know that my darling is with me, keeping me company. Nobody knows the great separation, great loneliness which comes upon a person when they lose their partner. And they have to wait until the time when they'll be reunited. I know that as I pray for Elsie each night, each day, so she prays for me. I always remember her at the Holy Communion service, not audibly, but silently to myself, because since I've been ordained, she has always come with me, joined me at that wonderful service. She used to come quite frequently before I was ordained. I know that it was the only service I could take the day after she died. And now I'm in the 4th year since I lost her. Yet I didn't lose her because she's nearer to me now than she ever was. But oh dear, I do miss my loved one. I do miss her greatly. Well, I think that's nearly finished the tape. You must forgive me for my thoughts, but they often go through my mind in this way. And perhaps I might be able to find some comfort in listening to the thoughts that were passed through my mind on this particular occasion. God bless Mum. God bless my love. You are ever in my thoughts, and you are ever near to me.
How devastating it must have been for him to walk past her grave every day on the way to and from the vicarage. The grave is unkept because we live so far away, and it hadn't occurred to me to bring flowers. I had attempted to clean the grave a bit with a stick that kept breaking, and I was being assaulted by mosquitoes as I did so. So I didn't want to linger here too long. My mother had always told me that she wanted to be buried with her parents, but in later life it seemed she changed her mind. I'm a keen genealogist, and one time I visited my great-grandparents' grave, Elsie's parents, in Leeds. It was difficult to locate because it had largely fallen apart, and part of it was being used to prop up another gravestone. I guess in doing this video, I am attempting to keep the deceased alive.